Alright guys, HyDra again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. So many scrims going down over the last couple of days. FaZe especially involved in these ones, massively looking to get a head start on the rest of their competition going into the new season, especially with Pred stuck in Europe right now with his team out there in Texas. Big scrim set up against Seattle as well last night. Most of the maps, as you might have expected, went the way of FaZe. One though in particular went Surge's way pretty emphatically indeed. What do we want to read into this so far? Is Surge going to be pretty good on this AR meta, or was it just a bit of an off map from aBeZy? Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, the Stocksman did his first exclusive interview as part of Breaking Point with Donnie Temp actually talking about the upcoming season. I feel bad for Temp just because, as he mentions in this article, having gone down to challenges, he was kind of hoping that his first season would maybe, well, have a chance to play in a Pro-Am, but it turns out that's not the case. Now, he talks about his decision to switch up his team. He wanted to play with Gwyn, but then Gwyn got picked up to the league, so he decided to go and play with Tej. Been around with Tej for a long time. He says financially he's in a good spot, which allows him to focus on the game with not much external stress. Reckons that playing with Tej and Prelude is the way to go. Expect they'll be especially good at search and destroy. They should be pretty dominant down there in challenges. I just wanted to mention this as well though, because as he goes on to say, I don't want to look too far ahead about getting back into the league. I'm immersed in the present. I hope that we can return to the CWL format, maybe with 16 teams, give open bracket players a chance. It was rare, but we have seen teams like Stunner reach finals with the open bracket, TR make it to the finals, Team Revenge of course at COD Champs back in 2015 in Advanced Warfare. Bit funny they removed the Pro-Am the year that I joined challenges. I just want the scene to thrive. I feel like so many people find themselves in a similar position and kind of mindset to Temp on this one. There was also E United. To me, that's kind of like, in some sense, the classic example of the team during Infinite Warfare. This is the squad of Silly, Priestahh, Arcitys, and Gunless that pretty much came out of nowhere. Like, Silly was known. He was an old school, like, COD 4 pro. He was around for a few years. But Gunless, Arcitys, and Priestahh, nobody had really heard of. They played a little bit on, like, Apotheon Esports in the end of Black Ops 3. But apart from that, they were like brand new. They played on like the Gosu crew, something like this. Then E United picked them up. And people were so confused because this team E United, nobody had heard of these guys, and they were going toe-to-toe with OpTic Gaming online. And people thought, oh, they must be keyboarding, they must be, I don't know, lag switching, something like this. They turned up to LAN, it turns out they're actually just really good, and they made, they won a tournament. They came second at another tournament to OpTic. They won Atlanta. They lost in the grand finals to OpTic in Dallas, but they just came out of nowhere and became like just staples of the scene, and that's something that doesn't really happen nowadays. He also goes on to say that at least in challenges, you play more matches than you would otherwise. Like, yeah, I appreciate playing more. In the CDL, you hardly play as much as you did in the old days, so he's actually kind of looking forward to playing in challenges in the sense that there's actually something going on quite a lot of the time. Now, another L for the scene recently, this from JP Chris, confirming there's going to be no back-end data provided by the league. Now, so an API should exist in the game. The game typically has the ability, I believe, I'm not sure if it's the case this year, but it's been the case for the last couple of years, that the CDL can extract from the games and the matches that are played all of the data that will then feed into their, like, online stuff. Now, at Breaking Point, we've not ever had access to this, so we just have to track everything manually, which is, look, it's fine. It is what it is, and it's been frustrating, but there's no, like, open API like Valve have, or like, like Valorant has, for example, that you can at least try and get access to. It's not really a thing, but the CDL teams can get access to this back-end data stuff, and I think they have been able to for the last couple of seasons. This year, though, no back-end data. So, yeah, good luck with that. Everyone's going to be tracking everything manually this season, and I just don't understand why not. It is incredible, isn't it, how the more years of the CDL that happen, the worse things get, It's it really is quite remarkable. And as JP says, 2018 still remains the peak for competitive COD data. I think, yeah, back then, 2018, so we're talking, I'm guessing, World War II season, really. That's when they used to be able to extract the data from the game, the API and stuff actually worked. And yes, JP says, I hope steps may be taken in the future to help get this access back for the teams. So yeah, not exactly ideal. So scrims are really starting up over the last couple of days. Of course, like, kickoff tournaments are certainly still going down. Some teams can't practice yet for various reasons. Some teams maybe aren't scrimming their practice, but some teams most certainly are. And well, this is one example. Scump as well, of course, was playing the other day. LA Thieves were in action last night as well. We've got a bit of snake in here from Ghosty. Okay, this is search and destroy, but yeah, get used to seeing this on the season after what we've had for the last couple of years. Doug, he was practicing as well. He's on the main AR now, of course, for the Boston Breach team going forwards, as he was last year. So obviously the ARs right now seem to be the favoured weapon. That seems to be the way to go. And that's what we'll discuss here in a second with Surge, whether they could be in a slightly better spot than we initially anticipated before the season began. Scump as well, I gotta say, he tweeted this out, "Don't tempt me." And this is from their kind of set of scrims that they played. We talked about it yesterday, last night actually, up against, well, aBeZy and Zuma and their team they put together. So it's kind of like the OpTic Challengers or OpTic Nation team with Bows and Zinni and Nadeshot playing up against these guys. And a few highlights here from Scump as he says, you know, "Don't tempt me to come back" type thing, which is, yeah, definitely an interesting statement for Scump to make in the circumstances, given the fact that he has teased for some time the possibility of a return. It doesn't seem likely or particularly plausible this season, but, you know, look, next year's going to be a tryout game. You gotta think that the chances might be there for Scump to come back. I think he gets one more nice kill here, actually, I'll just kind of share before we move on to the next thing. Yeah, he beams Zuma all the way across the map there for the long shot. But FaZe have been streaming a lot of their practice over the last couple of days. This is Cellium spinning on a seam, actually, which is kind of unfortunate again at 2 times in a similar spot that a seam has been spun on by aBeZy, and then it's Cellium yesterday over the last couple of days. This is FaZe versus LAG, I'm guessing, and, well, to be fair, we don't know if it's LAG yet. They haven't confirmed their roster, have they? Vegas have now. London, okay, Carolina now have. But nothing from LAG. So I don't know whether they're just going to bide their time, right? Because let's say this LAG team, this, you know, Diamondcon, Gunless, Asim, and Kremp, right? This team of 4 doesn't do so well in practice. Apparently there's no head coach over there anyway, so I don't really know who's making the calls. But, you know, could they change their mind? Sure, right? I mean, apparently they don't have to lock in their team yet. We don't really know when the deadline is for the league to say, all right, you've got to have it done by right about now. So I guess they can still make changes, even though we think that's going to be their team. It's not exactly guarantees. So FaZe, they're up and running. They played Surge last night in a set of scrims. We also had Carolina playing, and to be fair, I like the look of this Carolina team. I think they're going to keep on improving over time as well. And here's Gwyn, just some nice clips here going into the new season. I saw an actual discussion on Reddit as well, the fact that for the last, you know, 6-7 years, every year there's been a rookie that has been basically a top 5 player in the game. I guess if you consider Kenny World War II, but even after that, you've got like Simp in Black Ops 4, Shotzzy the year after that, then, you know, maybe Insight, right, you could say, during the Cold War season, Pred in Vanguard, obviously, Scrappy the most recent years. Like, basically every year there's been some pretty dominant rookie that's been in the mix for MVP, and most certainly Rookie of the Year. This season, who's it going to be? Is it going to be anyone? Is it going to be Gwyn? Is it going to be, you know, aBeZy, I guess, would be probably the biggest potential candidate. But they actually played some Control yesterday, Carolina. This is Clay's, you know, Clay's screenshot of this and put it on Twitter for good reason, because he goes 39 and 32 with almost 7,000 damage here for a 3-2 Control win on Karachi. So, yeah, cool to see some teams are starting to play Control. Lots of untraded kills there from Clay. And FaZe played yesterday a lot of maps of scrims. These were some between FaZe and the Temp team. So these guys should be pretty good. And they split these, you know, map 7 to map 10. They've played a lot of maps here. Were split. So, you know, 250. So, you know, TJ and Temp and these guys doing pretty well. FaZe have obviously, you know, look, they're always good. FaZe are always going to be very impressive. But so far, it's not like they've been crushing absolutely everyone they've played. Bit of a back and forth here between, so, you know, this is Temp, this is TJ, for example. They win this one, Terminal 250 to 233. But this scrim set up against Seattle Surge was pretty ugly from, you know, both sides in some respects. There were some maps where Surge just got obliterated, and then there was one map that wasn't so pretty for FaZe, and we'll see that here in a second. But yeah, this is a scoreboard. And look at Ben's face here at the top right. Like, you know what Ben's thinking here. He's like, oh no, here we go. Because it ain't particularly pretty. Now, to be fair, here on Invasion, and aBeZy's kind of laughing at the scoreboard and the numbers, because this is Arcitys versus his former team, right? Okay, he was on FaZe a couple of years ago. Now he's no longer there. They've cycled through Slasher and now to Drazah in that role. And they win this one 250 to 147. Now, I'm kind of surprised they didn't win this by more, just because of the kill department here. And this is what you've got to be concerned about if you're Surge. We talked about this the other day, that sure, the meta right now is AR predominant. You know, there's more ARs than SMGs, and that is going to be helping, for sure, the team like Surge that really needs a 3AR meta with aBeZy. You really want him to be on the AR. Illy and Arcitys sure, maybe they can find a way, but is it's 3 ARs that help Surge? But as we said before, for this Surge team to work, they need not just one thing to go in their favor, but they need multiple. They need it to be an AR-style meta, they need aBeZy to be really good, and they need iLLeY, Hook, and Arcitys all to play at like the best they've played for the last few years. And while we might have one of those things, it doesn't feel like we necessarily have the others, because yeah, Arcitys had 5 kills here in this map, Hook had 9, so that wasn't great. iLLeY had 21, aBeZy had 22, so you know, a bit of a discrepancy there, it's got to be said. There was also this map where Hook had 6. So, you know, look, it's early days. It's Scrims, it's Hardpoint Karachi. There's a lot to learn for these teams respectively. But some not particularly pretty maps for certain individuals here. Like Hook had 6 on this one, RC's had 5. Lots of single digits, surprisingly so. So FaZe won most of these maps. Even Crowder's face here was like, oh no, like, you know, maybe Surge ain't looking so good. But to be fair, after that, there were some slightly more competitive maps. Subbase was actually a tie here, 231-231. So, okay, this one wasn't a FaZe win, but I guess they got pretty close to it here. So on this one, you know, the same was perfectly reasonable on the side of you know, Surge, but this was the map that they actually did win, which was a terminal hardpoint. They actually put FaZe comfortably in the 100-point club here, so 250-83. So it's kind of funny because the first couple of maps happens, Surge were getting bodied, and people were like, oh my god, this Surge team's so terrible. And, you know, then all of a sudden they put them in the 100-point club, so you never really know. The team's obviously got potential, you know, and this is, there's no surprise that a team of aBeZy, Arcitys, iLLeY, and Hook, whenever they're all playing well, can do something like this. Okay, sure, aBeZy just didn't really spawn into this when he had 6 kills, 6 and 18. Don't do that every day. Like, I wouldn't even, okay, Scrims, it's early days, it doesn't really matter, everyone's learning, but still, aBeZy to have less than 10 kills and a hardpoint, I don't know if I'd ever really expect to ever see that. So yeah, it drops a 6 bomb here. Drazah, to be fair, only has 10, and aBeZy goes 20 and 6. So if there is going to be a star player of this team, it's going to be aBeZy. I think you see that in the scoreline so far. He also has almost 3 minutes in the hill. I mean, this is an outrageous stat line, to be honest. 20 and 6 against FaZe, 2 minutes 40 in the hardpoints. Like, yeah, that is something special. And then they played a final set of maps as well. These were all pretty close, 250, 232, 250, 206, 250, 243. So yeah, FaZe won the vast majority of the maps here against Surge, but they did seem to get closer over time. And of course, Surge should have that nice 100-point club win that they put FaZe in as well. So it's early days, but you always tend to see FaZe will do well in these online scrims. OpTic will do well in these online scrims. We'll see over the next couple of days whether we see anything from Toronto and New York and teams like this, what they might potentially be up to. We did see Boston versus Rocker. So they pretty much split these maps. I think there was one that Rocker actually kind of destroyed Boston on. But yeah, Rocker, not a team that on paper looks spectacular, but I think that Boston have also a big way to go in terms of improving this season. There was also LAG played Thieves, and the first map again, Terminal, nice little 100-point club. Rest of the maps here somewhat split between the two teams respectively, so we'll definitely see how things progress over the coming days. Intrigued to your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below, whether you can read into this too much so far, whether there's any big takeaways that you would have from what we've seen over the last couple of days, and certainly more to come on this one. So hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.
Defuse it, run up and just go defuse it. Throw that stun somewhere in the air jack and go defuse it. Yep.
Oh my god! Let's go. Good call, Mark. Let's go, Jack. No. That is great, dude. That is great. He just lost composure. He just lost composure, dude. He just lost.